Alright, so you want your vocals to sit in your mix like from the pros, then watch this whole video until the end. So the first very important thing is when you mix your vocals is that you get the volumes right. So what I usually recommend my coaching clients and also everybody who follows me on YouTube is to go into both extremes and then find the middle sweet spot. This sounds really good to me. What I also recommend for you is to basically put into your project a reference track. In this case, I put my own track in here, which is called This Feeling. And there I have also vocals playing, and I always try to make sure, okay, how loud are the vocals in comparison to the bass line, to the hi-hats, to the instruments. And then I can basically compare and see, okay, my vocals are maybe too loud, they're too quiet or whatever. So that I make basically adjust the change based on that. Sounds good to me. Then the second very important thing is for you to use the proper vocal chain. So for example, I have this vocal chain that I use in usually most of my productions. Depending on the vocals and if it's a female or male vocal, I basically adjust this template a little bit. You can obviously get this template as well if you want to get this template. Make sure go on gumroad.com. The link for that is under this video. So I'm going to now mute all the plugins I'm using, and then we're going to hear and listen to the plugins, how it sounds like with and without the plugins. You got me spinning in circles and I'm letting go the way you move. Let's take it slow. So as you can hear, first of all, the sound is more in stereo, which means that I basically use the plugin relay. I put it a lot into width. Like in this case, I really wanted to put it into stereo. Then the second plugin we're using is Isotope Trash. There is a setting called Iris Aliasing. Iris Aliasing. And I have, as you can see already, this preset sounds really bad if you have it on 100% wet. So I have it on probably like around, maybe just 10%. Again, try both extremes, 0 and a lot, and find the sweet spot. So it creates a bit of saturation, adds harmonics, but doesn't destroy the foundation of the whole sound. Then I use on top of this saturation a sound godizer, which is even bringing out more the top end of those vocals. Without it, it sounds like this. As you can hear, the sound godizer makes a massive difference. But it also makes it more loud. We need to really be careful with this because it's going to make it louder. But we're obviously going to be able to counter this with enough limiting or saturation in that case. So I use the Fruity limiter. I'm not using any fancy compressor anymore because it takes too much processing power and it takes away too much processing power. So I'm using just a normal compression. So the reason why I chose attack time to 13 milliseconds is because if you put it to 0 milliseconds, it's going to cut all those very important P, T, S, like all those syllables. I don't know. English is not my first language. Anyway, so basically this makes your vocals more natural, but it still compresses the sound enough. Without. You got me spinning in circles and I'm letting go the way you move. It sounds like it has now more energy and it's compressed. It is not loud and like the volumes are going up and down. It is in a box, but it doesn't sound like it's in a small box. It sounds like it's in a compressed box in a good balance. If you've gotten any value by this video so far, please make sure to like it right now, subscribe to my channel to not miss out any house music production tutorials in the future. And in the end, what I did, I added a high pass filter, so just to cut away those low frequencies. As you can hear, those low frequencies you don't need because they're almost inaudible. So you can cut away everything below 180 Hz. I'm still using parametric EQ from FL Studio because it's enough, like really you don't need fancy plugins. Now let's come to the third very important tip, which is basically sidechaining or multi-band sidechain compression. But before I'm going to tell you the details of this trick, I also want to remind you that I'm also offering one-on-one online coaching. So if you're struggling with anything, mixing, mastering, sound arrangement, whatever you're struggling with the most at the moment, just message me privately over Instagram if you want to find out more about this online coaching. We're going to work basically together on one of your tracks. I'm going to help you exactly what you're you're struggling with the most, and I'm gonna basically give you also feedback for your music, which is gonna catapult your speed, your learning curve into this space. As you can see in my house music production template that you can purchase on gumroad.com, the vocals go into the vocal bus, but then this vocal bus is also connected to the high instrument bus, to the reverb bus, to the drum bus, but with 0% volume. The reason for that is because on each of those channels I have a plugin installed, which is, for example, the Fruity Limiter, or it could be Soothe 2. So let's enable the Fruity Limiter on the high instrument bus. And then we're going to go on compression section. We're going to go on the vocal bus. So now we're going to basically sidechain the instruments every single time the vocals come in, which is going to basically let those vocals pop out more. Just subtle, don't do too much, otherwise you're gonna kill the energy of the high instruments, which are also important, but you wanna just subtle. If you obviously want to go a level higher, instead of using a Fruity Limiter, you can now, for example, use a plugin like Soothe 2, which is now going to duck down certain frequencies. There's also a specific video that I have here, which explains exactly how to use multi-band sidechain compression in detail. So in short version, this plugin is basically making it possible for you to just sidechain each frequencies that is coming in from the vocal, and that's exactly the frequencies that it's going to sidechain in a high instrument, which is way more detailed as a Fruity Limiter, which is just normal sidechain compression. I definitely use this technique in way more productions than the normal sidechain compression, but those are the most important ones. Now the same thing also goes for the effects of the vocals. For example, if the vocals have now heaps of reverb, in this case those vocals are wet already, so I didn't really use any reverb. But in case I would use a reverb, I just have to do this in my template, and then if I have Valhalla Supermassive, for example, or a Fruity Reverb, then I would usually always put a Fruity Limiter after the reverb on the same auxiliary channel. So basically, when the vocals are playing, you want the reverb to duck down. You don't want the reverb to go over the vocals. You want the reverb to duck down. That's why you go again on the compression section, press with 2 fingers on the sidechain, go on the vocal channel that you want to sidechain, whatever that is. In this case, I think it's vocal 2. And then on vocal 2, you're gonna basically bring the threshold down, enable the ratio. That's a great technique. You can definitely use this in basically every single element in all your productions, in instruments, in vocals, and even the highs, for example, to sidechain the reverb to this. But I hope really this could help you a lot to basically bring your vocals out more in your mix, to make it sound more like a professional. If you obviously still struggling, I'm offering one-on-one online coaching. If you want to find out more about that, just message me privately over Instagram. Let's connect. Tell me a little bit about your struggles, what you're struggling with the most at the moment, and I try to help you as much as I can. Anyway, that was it for my video. Hope you really enjoyed this. Also, make sure to check out this video, which explains exactly how to produce Zara house music in FL Studio. Very easy tutorial, and I see you, bro, in the next video.